I like these games and I think they're fun, and this video is very spoilery. At the time of writing, I've been Dark Souls 1 and have gone to King Ring in the second one. I actually bought Dark Souls Trilogy for 70 AUD, and knows of the version I'm playing. Yes, I hate myself too, but I have a PS5 and not a 4, so that's slightly less bad. Anyway, the average price for Switch games in Australia is $80. PlayStation games are inconsistent and more, and these games individually are over $100. So that was a steal! Also, I don't like this box art. I wanted the original box art, damn it! Anyway, if you know these games are infimously... or at least on your first playthrough. I agree, these games are quite... I found it quite hard to traverse the lands of... I cannot remember! and... whatever Dark Souls 2 land was, but the world was difficult, so yeah, I do agree that the first time is hard. Even in Dark Souls 2 I had a lot of trouble navigating the world. I will say it does sometimes border on annoying, but a lot of the areas are just difficult. The bosses, boy these are strange. Okay, how do I start this? Okay, so out of the 26 bosses, which I'm pretty sure I all beat...
I forgot Camelot.
Here are the top 5 most difficult bosses for me. Gulag, Taurus Demon, Ornstein and Smo, Manus, Gold Gargoyles. If you've never played Dark Souls, I'll give you some context, which is difficult to do because out of the 22 base game bosses and 3 DLC ones, I missed a DLC one because I didn't think it was a proper boss. Whoops. About 13 are required and the order can vary slightly, so I'm just going to say what number boss they were that I fought out of 25. Gulag was my 6th, Taurus Demon was my 2nd, Ornstein and Smo were my 8th, Manus was the last boss of DLC, which was technically 20th, and Bell Gargoyles was the 3rd. And the Bell Gargoyles Manus difficulty gap is like this, Ornstein and Smo gap is like this, and then the other two are like this. Damn, that's a big gap. You see, that is a bit of a problem, especially since the hardest one was the 3rd boss. That could have been unique because 1, I didn't start upgrading my equipment until Blighttown, because I wanted to find a better weapon that I could use for the rest of the game, so I didn't waste resources. Also, that was probably a good thing, because I went through like 3 long swords before I killed the gargoyles with a halberd. I still think I would have gotten murdered though, because of the amount of deaths I didn't have Estus, compared to the deaths where I had Estus, was probably 85-15. Estus is the 15, not the 85, which was because of what is a bit annoying, tag teaming. You wanna know what my hardest boss was for Dark Souls 2? Ruined Sentials. You fight one of them, then 2 of them. The base of my weapon at the time have a lot of health. Like genuinely, having multiple boss fight you at once makes the bosses a lot harder. Most of the reasons I died was because of getting hit by one, and then another. This tag teaming can essentially just hit you for twice the damage in one, due to the knockdown cycle in the time between hitting the ground and getting up and regaining control of the character, and your iframes don't last that entire time. And I hope you can understand what I mean. I can't think of a good way to explain this because I am bad at explaining. This was quite just annoying, because I knew most of the difficulty wasn't because of a boss being hard. I'd have scraped up 5 hours at least in both games if it was just 1 gargoyle or 1 sential. Since it was 2, I sat there for at least another 5 hours. Anyone who plays Dark Souls knows that the 4 kings exist, but I feel like this is different because instead of new ones spawning and being health based, all of them all jumping on you at once, it's time based, so if you're quick enough you don't need to worry about double teaming as much. Also, I think I did more damage to them because their health split in 4, not 2, and probably have the same health as, I don't know, Sith. I'll have to look that up, and I can't be stuffed, so if you do end up being double teamed, you've got a much shorter time of a double team being possibly fatal. Dark Souls actually has quite nice length for bosses if you don't play really cautiously. They generally take about 2 to 3 minutes to complete and don't feel like they take forever. This one felt really long, this one being Gargoyle, because unless one was breathing fire and the second one wasn't, and wasn't also inside the fire, didn't attack, otherwise I would have been... or... I defeated a lone gargoyle about 4 times and died afterwards due to pressure and being an idiot. I went to New Game Plus and it was quite easy. It's probably because I just did more damage with my Sith Sword and being more experienced. Ruined Sentinels were probably easier for me for one sole purpose. I already played Dark Souls 1. Now, for added context, I went through Cardinal Tower route instead of the Tower of Flames because I didn't realize the Tower of Flames route existed. And hey, it works. And these guys were hard by themselves anyway, or at least this first one. And then when you hop down, you take damage, so I hope you have enough health buck or the Silver Cat ring. And also, this game is probably harder earlier on due to ADP, which gives you more iframes, and Estus being tied to shards. You find Sing around with only one usage at the start, which is very fun, and it's probably just me not liking to use shields unless it's Undead Berg in Dark Souls 1. Also, something that doesn't help is the fact that if you don't use Human Effigy, your health decreases every time you die, which made this fight last even longer. It was just difficult. Possibly due to going up with a big sword, I ended up with light armor, or I just ended up with lighter armor because I like having a roll. I don't use shields, or I'm bad at upgrading armor, or my set was just weird. Like, he was just difficult. And the 20-hit combo and Dark Magic does like 90% of my health. Ignoring my previous paragraph, up to now, I've only been complaining about both the game's third bosses I faced. Wait, why is it both times the third boss and they're very difficult? / unfair, that's just strange. Anyway, this wasn't a video complaining about the boss difficulty, because believe it or not, from what I just said, I like difficulty in my game. The sweet spot is possibly somewhere between Ornstein and Smo and Manus on this chart, but that might just be the long travel times from the previous bonfire to the boss. You wanna know, out of 26 bosses, which is now 25, I did it in less than 5 attempts. Asylum, Iron, Moonlight, Discharge, Fire Sage, Centipede, Nito, Pinwheel, Steve, Sun, Priscilla, Steve, and maybe Stray. 13 out of 25. Just a little bit over half the bosses. That is stupid high. None of these are pulled for Q-lag besides the tutorial boss. When you move Priscilla, Stray, Sun, and Moonlight for fighting 3 out of the 4 of them before, like right before the final boss, and Moonlight while hitting Sith, that makes 8 out of 20, 4 out of 10. 2 out of 5 of what shouldn't have been the easiest bosses in the game. Arguably, most of them should have been some of the hardest. Now maybe the kill me owls and gargoyles and going to the catacombs, an endgame area, way too early. But Jesus! I'm having a similar problem with Dark Souls 2 currently. Out of all the bosses I've done, I can think of about 7 bosses which took me more than 5 attempts, and at least 13 which have taken me less than 5. It's bloody annoying! Also, I've used summon in bosses like twice because I just so happened to be human and I didn't use summons in the first game because I don't like using unreplenishable resources when the amount you have is limited. The bosses are generally the best part of these games, so it's a big disappointment that they are easy or kill me difficult because these 2 games are genuinely good. I had fun, but I want more of my time to be on the bosses, not the overworld. The bosses are the best part of the game. My favorite part of Dark Souls 1 was Sith. Totally not just because he's a big doggo with a big sword and that's epic.